box sets and not getting a full set out of them, and man, they were getting pissed. And I don't know what the deal was, but then the card company started, guaranteeing at least one complete base set in a box. So since then, but I don't know if this is before then or after then, but if there's not a complete set in here, I'm going to try to find the missing ones. This was a card set he had up on there, and he actually just gave this one to me for free. So appreciate you, Chris. This is the Superman Man of Steel Platinum Series. And I saw that, and he had like 4 of them. He's like, if you want to look through and make sure they're all there, I'm like, yeah. And I don't blame him for not wanting to do it, because he's just losing money the more work he has to do, which is the rule of business. When I had my store, and if a customer came in and I had to put more time into something, separating out the cables of like the video game systems, the more, if they had all their action figures just thrown in a box with weapons, the more work I had to do, the less I was going to give them. And I told them that, and I was like, hey, but if you want to go home or you want to do this over here off to the side and match everything up, then I can give you more, because I don't have to do less work. Some customers got mad at me, and some were like, oh, that makes sense, and so they would do that, and they knew what matched there, so that was pretty beneficial. Wizard Image Special Edition magazine. He had a bunch of Wizard magazines, and I looked to see if he had a full set of like 1 through 9, because remember my videos with the cards in them, and I'm trying to find that first set. I still can't find that first set for anything less than $40. So I'm going to keep my eye out on it for always, but because even if I bought them for $40, the 1 through 9 magazines themselves, I'd get the cards, but I'd still have the magazine I could flip through at least once. Here's another Wizard Superman Tribute Edition. He just gave this one to me as well. And it's got a card on there, and I don't remember what set that's from, what promo card that is from, but I'm going to read it. And all the Wizard magazines did have a promo poster in the middle. And interesting fact, if you find those Wizard poster books that they came out every year, price those on eBay and, see what those things are going for, because when I was a kid, I'd get those, and I would open them up, undo the staple out of the center, and I'd pull them out nice and neat, pull those staples away, and then I'd fold them back in there. And sometimes they'd make it on my wall, and sometimes they wouldn't, but that's what majority of the people did with them, was they opened them up. So finding one intact now is, high dollars. Here's an X-Men one, and I want to say there was an X-Men poster in here, which I think is the cover, but the mini posters were usually the covers in there. Yeah, I never. So I had this when I was in high school, and the card was cool. But interesting thing about this one was a term paper written by Douglas Ramsey, who was one of the New Mutants, about how mutants and mutations and where they came from in genes. It was such a good story. I almost plagiarized the whole thing. Back then you could just look it up on the internet and copy and paste and turn it into your own. I would have had to retype everything. So I decided against that, because that would have taken, at that time, my typing skills, I kid you not, were 3 words per minute, maybe 4. It would have taken me forever. And I already had my term paper to do, and I did this other guy's term paper, and he never paid me for it. So I was like, okay, dude. And so mysteriously, the school found out about it, and so I don't know what kind of grade I got it, but dude was a piece of shit. So I'm not gonna say his name because something bad did happen to him afterwards. But for my interacting with him, he was not a good person. Rye graphic novel is, and this one also has another comic in the back. So Rye was good. I think Rye had the Bloodshot nanos in his thing from like the Bloodshot comics. So I think this is like takes place in the future in Pan-Am or something like that. Wildstorm Misery one shot. It was a special, and this came out about the same time as Cyberforce number 1, the ongoing series, and Wildcats number 6 came out. Because she was a protagonist, it was the Killer Instinct storyline, I believe. Max number 1, which I had when I was a kid. This is a good story. It was, God, what's this guy's name? Keith something. I forget. This is his first name or his last name. But his art style was so interesting that I such enjoyed it, and I did not understand it. So I imagine when I read it back again, it's probably not going to be something I can understand. Maximage number 1, I got that one because I didn't have it when I was a kid, and it was the number 1. when I was a kid and I was collecting the number 1 comics, I always got the number 1s and then the number 0s. And then I started, okay, I get the number 2s, and then the number 3s, and number 4s, and number 5s, you know, and it just spiraled out of control out of there. So, here we have a stack. We have New Men, number 5, number 4, number 3, number 2, and 1. Once again, I bought these. I think I paid like 50 cents each for these. But, you know, it was a run. And this one came out right after I was sort of starting to stop collecting the comics. And so I bought those because I wanted to read them. And I liked the art. And then it became New Force. And I don't think Rob Liefeld has much to do with this. Extreme Studios. I don't know if he had much to do with that anymore or not. Vogue number 1 and 2 and 3. This is a Youngblood spin-off, which I really enjoyed all the Youngblood characters. So that's why we got those. And gosh, it seems like I'm just blowing through these too fast, but I'm trying to keep this video from being long. Battlestone number 1 and 2. This is a Youngblood spin-off. Okay. Here we have Brigade number 4, which you flip it. I have to open it up, but if you flip it over, I think it is, Youngblood number 5 on that one. And so it didn't really tie into the 2 titles very well. And some of the retailers would trick you because they would put, you know, Brigade number 4 out, and then down in the Youngblood in the Ys, they'd put, you know, they'd flip it over. And so you're thinking you're getting 2 different books, but it'd be the same book. And there were some super ones. Alright, Gen 13 in the Max, because I was a big Gen 13 fan, and I never read this one, so that's why I picked this one up. Gamora Swimsuit Special. They did a lot of these in the 90s with like each company. I don't think DC did one, but Marvel did one, of course, Image did one, Wildstorm did theirs, and there were some good pinups in there. Freak Force was something I read. I enjoyed Freak Force. Highbrow Studios spin-off of the Savage Dragon. He had quite a few spin-offs. He had Super Patriot, he had Freak Force. They were such good reads. Mighty Man, I think, such good reads on it. And all his stories were really good. And so he did all the different titles of them that he could. Extreme Super Special, this was, you know, 50 cents, so I picked that one up. Mars Attacks Image. I've got some stories about Mars Attacks, but this one I've seen it was pretty good. Lady Supreme number 1 and 2. I was a Supreme fan. I really liked the idea of Supreme because he was so arrogant, and he's, I think, probably the most realistic of the Superman knockoffs. So I really liked Supreme on those reasons. Nightmare, I can't remember which studios did these. Nightmare number 0 and 1, so I picked up those. Kindred, this was something that I enjoyed because it was a Wildstorm book, and it connected the Wildcats and the Stormwatch with these 2 guys being part of the Gen 12 and talk about how they got their powers and how their children were the Gen 13 kids and the DV8 kids. And this one I picked up because this is part of an 8-set puzzle, and if I can find the picture, I'm going to find the picture, I'll introduce it in here so you'll kind of see what's going on. So I'm going to pause right here where I can insert the picture. Okay, so that picture should be in there by now. Boy, this is going to take me a long time to edit this video. Killraiser number 1, I want to say this was a Top Cow title. Oh no! And I was afraid this has happened as another one of those. I was afraid there would be some duplication there, but for 50 cents, you know, you can't beat it. Some New Men titles. You got issues 10, 9, 8, 7, 6. Yeah. Okay. Solar Man of the Atom, which, why did I buy this one? Oh, I think I bought this one because of the cover. It was just XL. But it was 50 cents. There's nothing special about it, but I wanted it. Here we have one of the Unity variant covers, and I'll do the same thing because 8 of these put together form an image, so I'm going to pause for a few seconds and insert the image here so you can kind of see what I'm talking about. Ultraverse, Mantra number 1, came with the Ultraverse cards, which when I first bought my first box of trading cards was an Ultraverse box, And that one had 2 free sets, or